So let's just talk at the end here for a minute. Let's just talk about how we go forward. First of all, let's address those among us who have been lied to, who have fallen for the grift. What do we do with them? No matter how else you feel about these people, no matter what else you believe, over, 70 million people in a country of 330 million people voted for Donald Trump. There is no gulag big enough for all those people, and if there was, I wouldn't want to put them there. If that many people supported their own destruction, they've been lied to. Either they have or we have. Either it turns out that Donald Trump really was doing a great job, and we just imagined all those dead Americans, or they've been lied to. We need to address the source of the lies. We need to address, in my opinion, the order of operations should go first, the actual people who committed the coup. We need to deal with that quickly. I was delighted that we had some agreement from our Canadian friends, essentially making me worry less that I'm taking crazy pills here, and agreeing that it's bizarre that it's 2 years after a coup and we still don't have the organizers of it in prison. That's not a good sign. First and foremost, that has to be dealt with. When you see Michael Popak as a great example of this, someone whose opinion I respect immensely, when you see him put out a video where he goes, and we wouldn't have any of this information if we didn't drag our feet for 2 years. Tutting people for being, as he describes it, impatient. Correct him. Go in the comments, be polite, but correct him. Timestamp the moment he says it in the video, in your comment, and please point out that it should not take 2 years to get to the bottom of a attempted coup. And if it does, it is not for the people to be more patient and to sit on our hands for longer and to let ourselves be attacked by fascists more and more. No, that's the wrong lesson to take from this. What we instead need to do is have a stronger law enforcement arm, a more efficient one that is more interested in dealing with the rich and the powerful. That is the lesson to take away from this, not that we should have been more patient. The second thing we need to deal with is the corrupt media. You cannot be allowed to leave people with the impression that you are a news organization if that is not what you do. If you are Fox, that's a propaganda organization. That's all it is. We need to work out legislation, as in firm laws, that make it so that you simply cannot get away with claiming to be a news organization when that's not what you do. Then we got to work finally on that third group. And this work is going to take a long time. But that third group of 70+ million Americans that allowed themselves, in many cases willingly, allowed themselves to be misled. Culturally, that we have to do the difficult work of raising the bar, and that simply means on a case-by-case basis, we hold people to a higher standard. That also means that when we get held to a higher standard, like when your old pal Jake gets things wrong, we don't treat it either on the end of doling out the criticism or receiving the criticism. We don't treat it like it's a mortal sin. People are allowed to be wrong. In the age of instant communication, you're going to see people get wrong all the time. What's important is how we handle it. Do we own it when we are wrong? Do we put at least as much effort into correcting ourselves as we did into saying the thing that we got wrong? if that makes you think, oh God, well then all my news organization is going to be doing is talking about how wrong they were. Well, gosh, what does that tell you about your news organization? We should celebrate the act of correcting oneself. We should try to have fun with correcting ourselves. But most importantly, as viewers, we need to stick up for decency and truth in media. That will be the cultural work we have to do. What do you guys think about all that? Who do you think is our groups we need to deal with? And there's one more thing I really want to talk to you about. We're going to try workshopping it here live. Wireless Mike says, I'm in favor of trying to save as many as possible. I'm afraid that many of them are just too far gone. It's less about misinformation and more about mental illness. Yeah, I think you're right. I think the technique here is going to be holding the door open and telling them that the door is being held open and that they are welcome in places like this. But also being honest with them that the door will not be open forever. There will come a time when the lines will have been drawn and the gavel must fall. And for example, people that attended the January 6th attack, that's a group which has gone too far and must literally pay back society for their crimes. 2024 is going to be another one. Holding the door open, approaching it. Jim Green says, "Pardon me, but you are an amazing fellow, Jake." Oh, keep it up, even if it hurts. Thank you. You sound like my ex. And we've had a dirty joke. It is indeed the weekend. By the way, we made it. Another week. Democracy hadn't fallen yet. Hey, let's talk about judo. Ever since Austin Powers yelling judo chop every time he attacks somebody in that goofy movie, I've been a big fan of that as an analogy. Let's play a game of judo with lobbyists. Something, as I was nervous and waiting to be on the Eager Beaver podcast, something that wriggled into the old noodle that I'd love to discuss with you guys is this idea that we have a bunch of lobbyists controlling our government right now. Now, we can be angry about that. I'll tell you, I'm angry about that. But that doesn't mean it isn't so, you know? And if it is so, how can we use that? Take away whether or not it should exist. It does exist. We have lobbyists that control our government. So what are some ways we could take advantage of that? What occurred to me is that we should grab some of these folks whose interests might be in alignment with us or might be made to align with us and lobby the lobbyists. Here's an idea I came up with. What if we got, for example, insurance company lobbyists to push bills requiring the government, I don't know, FEMA, the EPA, I don't know who would do this, to provide notice to landowners of new weather events anticipated over the next 10 years due to climate change. Remember, we're talking about a very different thing than trying to sway these people who have been bribed by various major companies. We're talking about trying to sway the people who are doing the bribing to work their evil works behind the scenes. Well, how are we going to do that? Well, insurance companies, these devils, they are not going to be interested in people's well-being, but we can still appeal to them. For example, here are some benefits we could rattle off for the insurance companies. It's an advertisement to buy insurance. The government sends you a notice saying, hey, flooding is anticipated in your area over the next 10 years. You should prepare for significant flooding. Here's how to do it. Weatherproofing, blah, 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 blah. You can bet your bells and buttons that savvy landowners are going to purchase insurance. It's a justification to those companies for raising rates. It's new markets, theoretically, for them to get into. And it's protection against those people that do purchase the insurance. It's protection against them making smaller claims. If they follow the government's advice and actually do, let's say, flood-proof their homes or their businesses, well, there's going to be less flood damage for the companies to pay for. This could be an appeal to that person out there who wants to become the global warming billionaire. What are the benefits to Americans? Well, it gives homes and business owners adequate time to prepare. It wakes people up to the reality of what we know is coming. And it saves money for all involved. And by the way, to the left, the benefits are that it highlights the importance of green policy. It tells people this is coming for you. And it makes right-wingers, most importantly, scramble to once again find a delicate way to say that they'd prefer their voters just stay ignorant. What do you guys think of that as a pitch? James Kirk is the bestest judo man ever, says Mars Falcon. Yes, he is. Mars Falcon says, just facts, none of my vitriol. If I can peel off one person from buying into the nonsense many of them wholeheartedly believe, I'll take it. Cool and calm and truth bombs. Yes, brother. Yes, indeed. Lobbying the lobbyists. What do you guys think? And who even? What I've told you now is literally all of my thoughts on the subject of lobbying the lobbyists. What do you think of the idea of trying to get the lobbyist to try to get the EPA or FEMA or whoever it would be to mail out, to send notifications to landowners in areas that are anticipated in the next decade to have new weather events? Let me know. Let me know what you'd like me to do on that. How much information you'd like me to get for you. Would you like me to bring you the anticipated weather events in the areas we're looking at? Would you like me to look at who would be the government agency? Or do you already know? Do you already know the government agency we should be looking at? A lot of you guys have some expertise that I was not anticipating having at our fingertips here. So if you got it, let us know. Zix says, when I first moved to Florida in 1996, you could set your watch by the rain that came every day around 4 p.m. The front was so sharp that the sidewalk was split between wet and dry. They're already trying to force flood insurance on people here in Tennessee, says Wireless Mike, instead of fixing the drainage and runoff issues. It's hard on homeowners who already have trouble paying their property taxes. Interesting. Zick says, not the other side of the street sidewalk, but the same sidewalk, referring to the split with the rain. That's interesting, man. Wicked Foxy Dragon says, I think we need to put together a list of lobbyists to contact. I agree. If you guys are members, I'll drop for the members, I'll drop a new spreadsheet or a new shared document that we can work on together. For everybody else, I will put the link in the next show. Oh, how about this? Forget that. If you're interested in working on this together, like collectively as a long-term project, and I give you guys updates as we go, write me at WYCD. Write me at whatyoucando@wycdnetwork.com. I will add you to the group, and we will work on it as a group. Wicked Foxy Dragon says, it rains on one side of the street and is dry and sunny on the other here in, I believe, Nevada. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. You, Wicked Foxy Dragon, you live in a hellscape, and while I have mad respect for it, if we ever visit, we're going to meet halfway, because I went there once, and it was so hot that my friends had to struggle to get me to take the gun out of my mouth. I'm a Michigan fella. I'm not built for that kind of heat. Oh, good Lord. Yeah, so if you guys are interested in working on this, we're going to make it a group project. We're going to have I think maybe some video calls, but certainly we're going to use just a Google, like a messaging service where we can all talk in a group. If you're interested in working on it, write me saying as much at what you can do at WYCDnetwork.com. That'll be the project for next week. We are going to take these forces, which seem insurmountable, and instead of doing the work of fighting against them, we're going to get these devils to fight each other. In other words, we're going to Bugs Bunny this shit.